Always want to be here. We're going to hear from Dakota Johnson and Alison Brie after this clip.
Let me teach you how to be single. Okay, lesson 1, go get us some drinks. No, that was a trick. You don't buy the drinks. Boys buy the drinks. It's kind of like a sexual currency that they use so they're not actually paying you to hook up. So, go get us a drink. Not with this wallet, okay, with the sausage wallet.
Which of you is buying oil right now?
Hey, what's up, y'all? I don't know why I just said y'all. You all would have taken just as much time. And I'm not even from the South. I'm from Portland, which is southern from Canada. Are y'all Canadian? I just did it again. I said it again. Oh my God. Okay, bye. It's very believable, and I think that it's the ways in which she sort of handles things is something that a lot of women can relate to. Sort of like an explosion into her real life and not really knowing how to do things or how to deal with things and just kind of stumbling through it.
It's a great ensemble of women and men. Dakota's great. She and I worked together before on the 5-year engagement, so I was excited to work with her again on this. And Leslie Mann is obviously incredible. She's so funny. Rebel Wilson is hilarious. Unfortunately, my storylines are a little bit separated from theirs. So when I've shot group scenes with all the ladies, we're always making jokes about how their characters don't know my character or don't remember her. I'm like, but remember me? I was around, especially Rebel's character is always like, no.
Yeah, where was Alison Brie in that film? I'm gonna say exactly what I don't like about that clip after you explain the film, Ryan.
Yeah. There's a lot of dislike, isn't there? Really.
Yep. But please.
This time, we're directed by Christian Ditter. Chris, How to Be Single. So 5-year engagement, was that?
That wasn't him, but it had Alison Brie in it.
Oh yeah. So I'm about to say, and Alison Brie wasted.
Again,
in a lot of films.
Again.
And I'll get to whether she was wasted in this film or not in a minute, but she's wasted in a lot of comedy films that she is a lot better than. Search Party last year,
Awful.
A lot more she could have been used in. I didn't see it, but you did. She was in Get Hard, wasn't she?
And she was awful.
Yeah, she could.
It was a terrible film, but the role she was given was just objectifying and horrible, really, really grimy.
Yeah, really. So not really shocking in the end. Sad to see, but yeah. So directed by Christian Ditter, basically following a newly single woman called Alice, played by Dakota Johnson, who is she had a better role last week.
She was
a bigger splash.
Far better last week.
She was much better this week, and she is getting some time away from her boyfriend Josh to figure things out. And she runs into Rebel Wilson's character Robin, who is sort of the supreme single person who only wants to stay single and never wants to be in a relationship because she loves being promiscuous. And essentially, just it's sort of just how she should be single. There you go. That's all it is, really. And obviously we run into other characters like Alison Brie's character called, I'm just bored, really.
Yep.
Just Alison Brie's character is called Lucy, and she hangs out at a bar, and it's all really just pointless because it's just bad.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great.
I'll let you do this because
you're all looking for this really subversive anti-rom-com, it's about single and female empowerment. Nope, it's a one-dimensional, female-driven, male-obsessed comedy with Rebel Wilson at the centre. She's excruciatingly unfunny, moving from one grotesque, I'm speaking to the camera here, moving from one grotesque comment to the next. No growth, especially at the end when it turns out when it turns out what happens. I'm yet to be impressed by Rebel Wilson in a film role. She's proven that she is a funny person. Her speech at the BAFTAs, while it was controversial, it was funny. But she seems to just play these roles where, oh look, she's fat. That means that's really funny. Oh, she does horrible things. That means she's hilarious. It's a Girls and Sex and the City rip-off. It was written by I think some of the writing team who did Sex and the City, and it shows they've clearly not left the writing room for a good few years. This script potentially written a good few years ago, so it's really quite dated and old-fashioned. Alison Brie, to me, was the most interesting part about this film, and certainly the best performed part, especially in a scene at her place of work, which brings in Jason Mantzoukas, who is completely underused and misused. We've seen, Raffi in the League, performances all across these kind of cameos in Dirty Grandpa. As he was fantastic. He was really good. And in this, he's kind of reduced to a couple of lines, a lot of shots at the back of his head. And Alison Brie's kind of really only there to bring in Tom, who's played by Anders Holm from Workaholics. who's really boring, a lot less interesting, borderline sex pest, along the lines of Dennis Reynolds from It's Always Sunny. Maybe he would have been a better choice.
Really good comparison.
Yeah. There's a scene about a drinks rule, and the rule is that everyone has a drinks number. So if the person and the person they're going to engage with have a certain number of drinks between them, that means they have to have sex. So there's a scene where Tom and his Holm has 10 drinks. Dakota Johnson's had 2 drinks, and her drinks number is 12. So she is in the room and she counts up all the bottles in the room. It starts off, oh, there's only 4 drinks here, it's fine, don't worry. And then she goes, oh wait, there's another one. And in the end, there's 12. And they just leap onto each other. And to me, that is so questionable and immoral, because just because a man's had 10 drinks, that means that she has to have sex with him.
Or that she has to have sex with him.
And just because she's had 2, he's had 10, that means that's fine? I don't get that at all. I think that's really questionable and really immoral. Dakota Johnson has proved that she can act. She was a sort of femme fatale in A Bigger Splash.
Definitely.
And she just didn't look comfortable throughout this film. She didn't have the comedic timing that was required. She looked very uncomfortable in most of the situations. I mean, she looks uncomfortable generally, and as we saw in 50 Shades, she's not the most bright and vibrant screen presence. But she can act, and this just proves that she's not for this kind of comedy. And I get the feeling that because she's done this and people have enjoyed it, I think we're not the resounding voice, in our opinion, that she is going to get forced into these kind of roles consistently, whether she likes it or not. Damon Wayans Jr. pops up. He's most recently seen in New Girl, and he's not allowed to perform in a comedic way. He's given a really wasteful and completely misjudged dramatic strand, and there's a time jump, and it reaches us at that point where Alice and his character are together, and there's something about his dead wife, and it very quickly spirals out of control. There's just too much nonsense packed into this film. There's just too many misfiring jokes. The tone is scattershot, and as far as How to Be Single goes, it made me happy that I am single, because at least I'm not vacuous and materialistic like the characters in this film.
Breathe.
You know what? I went into this thinking, I know it's going to be bad. If there's some jokes in here that make me laugh, I'll kind of give it a bit of credit. But there just wasn't. There's a few little ones at the start where I was kind of at a push. I was like, yeah, okay, I'll force that one out. It's it. Yeah, that's kind of funny. I'll laugh at that. But then when the questionable morals pop up, and Leslie Mann's story with the baby, she goes from hating babies to having one in her hands for about a minute and falling in love with it and then having a baby.
I quite like that scene. To be honest,
it's a fine scene, but the move from that stance to that stance in such a short amount of time.
Leslie Mann's character Meg, she's just walking through it, and
Yeah,
she's the older sister
I
of
know.
Alison. They have no chemistry. And
No.
nothing works.
Nothing
Absolutely
works,
Nothing works.
no.
I mean, I maybe laughed once, like a proper laugh. Even then, I don't think that was a sustained laugh. Nothing in this made me barely even smile.
No.
It's just it's
Horrendous.
There you go, jinx.
Bingo.
It's really bad.
We are not the only ones to have seen this film in the week, although I wish we were. Lauren McLeish, who was on Drive after us, she said it was hilarious. I was mainly a fan of Rebel Wilson scenes, but as far as the title goes, it was more like how to pretend you're enjoying being single, but really you still love Josh. Perfect.
Yeah, there you go.
She's not the first person to suggest a new title, actually. Mind, there were some scenes that had me crying with laughter, and some in actual sad tears. It was very up and down in terms of what it was about and its quality. I think, in terms of quality, for me, flatlining.
Yeah,
not good.
Exactly.
Bridget Hamilton has also written us a review, which you'll find at verbalremedy.co.uk. She says, having been in a relationship for the past 2 years, I was fully prepared for this anti-Valentine's Day flick to be aimed at anyone other than me. I was pleasantly surprised to find that How to Be Single is more an advert for self-love than it is an advocate for singledom. Perhaps it should have been called How to Start Treating Yourself Better, which doesn't happen till the end. I appreciate that it doesn't have the same ring to it, though. And at the end, it becomes wild.
Yeah.
The film was Reese Witherspoon from last year, going on a journey, and it's like, just stop.
Such a horrible cliched closing shot too.
These characters have got no personality of their own. They're all so one-dimensional. All they talk about is men. For a film about